Hey, it's Mark, and I'm back with another video on stocks and the markets. This is Mark from the stockpursuit.com domain and dynamitestocks.com and my Substack. So, what I've been looking at recently is some of these long setups. I just found a couple nice long setups. The first one is the CEI, and their history is really bad, but it has a tendency to have these little pops and then they fade out. So, this one's just a trade. It's a energy company, and the trade is if it breaks above the high, so above 43 cents. But I always like these to go like a penny stock needs to go a couple cents above, so it needs to have like a real breakout. So if it hits like 45 cents, I think this one's a good. Well, this is a good long setup because it's got a nice triangle here. It's got it's got a consolidation that's really bullish, and it has a fairly high short interest. Like I've seen it on some lists for short squeezes. So it's got like significant amount of shares short. So I'm not sure exactly how many are today because it's never always super accurate. But I've seen like up to like 9%, and I think I've seen it even higher if my memory is correct on some other weeks. So it's just a technical setup for a day trade or a 2-day trade. So if it doesn't break out, it's not really a trade anymore for me. If it goes sideways or breaks down, but the most I would want to hold it would be like a couple days, unless there is like a real squeeze, and then it'll be just like some really really big days, like maybe 30, 50% or something. But it doesn't have a history of holding gains, so it's just a trade. The other one is the APLT, and this one I just noticed the triangle. It's just a technical play too, because it's got a really nice triangle like the last one, and it's a really clean one, and it's definitely showing like a consolidation because there's really light sell volume on the red days here. Like even on that big candle, there wasn't really a lot of selling, or at least volume wise. So it had a really good spike there on Friday, and it traded 9 million shares on that big spike day that started it. And look, it actually had a triangle there too. It did a triangle right there. If you look at these red lines there, it did a triangle, a really nice one too. And then it popped off of that really well. Like as I've been saying, that's a really good setup, when they're clean like that. And then, so it traded 9 million shares, and on Friday it traded 6 million. So kind of similar as far as the unusual activity goes. So this one I like it even more than the CEI because the CEI is kind of sketchy with the history. Like it just pops and sells off. But I mean, this one's already up a lot too. So they're not really like, obviously, it would have been better to get it earlier. So the more these things go up, the more it's risky to me to trade like a big position or expect it to keep going a lot more. So these are just really speculative kind of just trades, off the breakout. So this one needs to hit over 250, like 251, 252 to be a setup long. And let me look at the daily, see where the levels are on the daily. Yeah, it's been definitely consolidating. So it's got a big support level there at about 220, 219. And then it's really just a lot of different levels here. Like there's the top there. Yeah, the 251 is the. Well, it looks like it actually printed it. It may have printed 254 there. So let's see. Yeah, there's 251. So yeah, it hit 251 back there. So it needs to hit 253, 254, at least to be a real breakout there. And I'm not sure about this one as a short too. That definitely help the case if it is if it is high short interest. Let me just check on that real quick, because that always helps. You know, like we've seen with this SIRI in the past and all these other ones. I mean, if the market's red, you know, these short squeezes are some of the only things that can go sometimes. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, there's almost hardly any shares short on the APLT, but that's okay because that probably means it's a good company, you know. So yeah, it's got some good technicals. Like there's the base. Let's look at the longer term. Yeah, it kind of, that was a big level there that it held. And had a big run in 2019, 2020, but that's about it. So that's a good setup because it's just because of the triangle really. And the series, my other top watch for a long, like this thing, if it keeps going, yeah, it could have another spike day, like another like 20, 30% or more spike. So I'm watching that one for a trade too. But those are some really good, like these triangles are really clean. Like that one's a clean one, and it even failed and then came back, so that's good because it's like a failed signal there. Like some, there could be a lot of shorts trapped. Like a lot of people might have shorted it that day when it took out a lot of support. But yeah, those are just trades. Like I don't think I'm not super supportive on the fundamentals. But this other one I found on the short side is this TSE. Well, actually, I found this one a long time ago, but I just kind of been watching it because it was really slow here, and then it finally broke down there, and I think, yeah, this was a gap down scan, but yeah, this stock hasn't really come back at all this year, so that's kind of telling. Because a lot of stocks have come back this year, good runs, and then it's been a lot of sell volume like that. There's a lot of sell volume there. It's a lot of big blocks. Somebody's selling a lot of shares, so we've got. I just noticed this. There's another bear flag set up here. Let's see that bear flag there. It's doing it again here, and it's right up against this down channel resistance level, which it likes to kiss off of because it broke off of there, and it never even made it at that time, but it went up there and broke off it again. So I think it's gonna. The technicals are saying it's gonna break off it again and come down. So it's a really nice bear flag setup. But I think it's gonna have like one more day maybe where before it decides what's gonna do. But like just based on how it likes to touch that resistance there. But if it has some good volume and it's red on the day tomorrow, there's a setup. If it breaks below that trend line, and let's look at maybe the daily will help us out here, or the intraday. Yeah, kinda. Yeah, like $6. Looks like 605 is the level to watch if it can hold that. But it's a long ways down. So hopefully it just kind of goes sideways tomorrow, and then we get a really convincing gap down like it did in the past. Because if it gaps down a lot, it's just definitely a short too, or a puts. It has liquid puts. That's why I like it. So those are the ones I want to talk about and just share real quick. And the series still definitely a good one. And I still got all my puts too, and I'll be watching the home builders too because they've been pretty weak. But there's a lot of big levels coming up. Like KRE looks really weak here. Looks like it can go down a lot farther since it came off that bear flag. But we'll see what happens with that. Like I'm just just focusing on the stocks more now. Like I don't really see a lot of ETF trades. So that's all I wanted to share. So I'll catch you next time.